Hello, my name is Malcolm Thibodeau, and I am discussing what determines our gas prices. Let's begin. Often people have questions like, why is why are the gas prices higher in California than they are in Texas, or why isn't the price $20 per gallon for gas prices? So we'll just be talking about things like that. Here are some of the factors of that are displayed in the table of contents, such as national and federal taxes, refining costs, geopolitics, OPEC, state taxes, weather, and speculation. National and federal taxes are the nationwide average tax on gasoline, which is about 50 cents per gallon. The federal tax on gasoline is about 19 cents per gallon, and then you add in the state tax, which it varies from about 23 cents to about 18 cents, but the average is about 21 cents per gallon. So before you even buy your gas, 50 cents has already been added into that $2 that you're spending on gas. Refining costs. These are the costs that are added to make the gasoline. So refining costs, the two biggest factors are additives and pollution. So additives are what goes in, and pollution, we're trying to minimize what comes out. So the higher the quality of the gas, the more additives and formulations are required, such as ethanol, fuel stabilizers, and detergents. Additives to reduce internal Additives are added to reduce internal engine carbon buildups, improve combustions, and to allow easier starting in cold climates. So additives are kind of things that help preserve your engine and stretch out its life. The characteristics of gasoline produced depend on the type of crude oil that is used and the type of processing technology available at the refinery where it is produced. So that pretty much is talking about what type of gasoline is it? Is it premium, unleaded, and that kind of goes into affecting the price. Increased demand for gasoline in the summer generally results in higher prices. So this is saying in the summer the demand is up because people are traveling. So there's going to be a lot more back and forth between home and wherever they're trying to go. So that increases the price. Geopolitics. Political unrest affects production and reduces supply. So in geopolitics, you have presidents, tyrants, Congress, people that are making laws that affect the plants that are producing the gas, and they make it harder on them to export, which ends up raising the prices. So they can place laws that add like additional cents per gallon, and then that makes it hard on them because now we don't want to buy from them, or we don't want to buy as much from them. A shortage of oil supply leads to an increase in oil prices. So let's say we have leadership that is they're gonna raise their taxes because of their shortage, um, which they're trying to make it harder for their oil to leave the country, which will lead to less exports. Because if they're gonna lose their oil, then they just want to increase their profit. So it's not really a loss. Like they're losing gas and they also have a shortage. So now they're losing gas, but they're kind of covering some of their costs. So when they're out of gas, they'll still have money so they can spend back into the oil. An oil price increase directly impacts the prices of oil producers, such as Chesapeake Energy, Concho, some of the ones I'm familiar with, and people in the South are BP, ExxonMobil, and you have Marathon Oil Corporation. Um, OPEC. OPEC is one of those organizations that has the single biggest influence on oil prices. Um, the OPEC stands for the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Um, if OPEC and OPEC countries are unsatisfied with the price of oil, it is in their interest to cut the supply so prices will rise. But if they do increase the price, now people are gonna, including myself, they'll be like, okay, you're gonna increase the price. I don't want to buy gas. It's not worth it to me to go somewhere because the prices are so high. However, no individual country actually wants to reduce supply, as this would mean reduced revenue. This issue often comes up as OPEC pledges to cut supply, causing an immediate spike in the price of oil. In the end, the forces of supply and demand determine an equilibrium price, which is about, I guess, $2 right now. That's about our equilibrium price in Texas. Oil prices averaged above $100 per barrel between 2007 and 2014 due to geopolitical tensions, increased demand, and tight supply. This elevated price of oil created huge incentives for innovation and new production techniques that led to oil extraction and more effective drilling techniques. So sometimes a spike in price is a good thing if it forces companies to spend more in research and development to increase the production and profit. State taxes. Retail gasoline prices tend to be higher the farther it is sold from the source of supply. Um, Dealing with state taxes, you often ask, like, why is gas more expensive here um, as opposed to somewhere else? So we see in the West Coast, it's the highest, and we see in the Gulf Coast, it's the lowest. And then you kind of have everybody else who's kind of in the middle. So Gulf Coast, um, we're near most of the refineries, and we don't really have a need to have those high prices because we don't really have as much traveling as not as much traveling is going on as opposed to the West Coast. Well, they have the refineries, but they also have a lot of touring destinations. So they can increase the price because the demand is so high. So a lot of times it's not just to do with just because it's harder for them to get the gas, but it's also because they can have $3 per gallon as opposed to Texas. More people would stay in the house if the gas was $3. But in California, they want to travel, so $3 is still worth it to them. Alaska has the lowest gas tax in the United States, in part because it derives revenue from oil production. Despite its 11.3 cent per gallon gas tax, it still has the second highest gas price due to oil market changes. Pennsylvania gas tax is 50 and a half cents per gallon, making it the highest rate in the country. It also has the highest tax as a percentage of gas price at 21.3 cents per gallon. Alaska, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, these are the states that are near major refineries, and also those refineries have access to domestic crude oil. So that's why you see Alaska, Pennsylvania, South Carolina have some of the lower prices. But as I said earlier, California, on the other hand, typically has higher gas prices because its refineries consistently run at or near capacity to meet demand for the state's specific legally required blend of gasoline. Mild weather equals lower prices. This has a lot to do with air conditioning. So if you have during mild winters, crude inventories build up because of lower heat use, which dampen prices into spring. But if you have extreme weather, that equals higher prices. If the summer is hot, air conditioning use will send prices back up. So you also have prices that you don't really think about, which like air conditioning, and those also affect the prices of gas. Speculation. This has a lot to do with researchers saying that, okay, the price keeps rising, but when will it bottom out? Or when will it reach its natural price, which is kind of like its equilibrium price due to an oversupply? So in 2008, the barrel price swing from 147 in June to about $30 in December was almost certainly caused by speculation. The only the only good explanation is what many researchers and prominent economists and others have said about the link to excessive speculation. In conclusion, there are many factors affecting gas. Some of the most important is the OPEC ability to spike the market. Research is predicting future prices. Other countries in OPEC not wanting to give oil due to shortage, and taxes that are put in place before consumers even touch the gasoline.